Africa Prime, brought to you by Jameson's Select Reserve.
Good evening and welcome to Africa Prime. Tonight we've got a very special woman in the house. We've got Nonkululeko Gobodo. She's executive chair of SizweNtsalubaGobodo. Now, she started practicing in 1992, establishing her own practice, and has been in the industry for the past 28 years. And of course, the whole reason why SizweNtsalubaGobodo is in the news is that big Transnet contract that they got. And tonight we thought we'd get more in depth and get to understand the woman behind the company. Nonkululeko, thank you for your time and thank you for coming to talk to us.
Thank you, Godfrey.
Has the phone been ringing off the hook since it was announced?
You can imagine. Yes, it's a very exciting time for us.
Who's been phoning?
Everybody, I suppose this has encouraged black business generally, the accounting profession specifically, the country worldwide, countrywide, and also people looking for business now. They think that there are opportunities within Gobodo, so it's all sorts of people.
That was the big question I was going to ask you. Who's been calling? And particularly, is it people looking to give you business or people looking for business from you?
It's actually more those who are looking for business. They see us as a big fish now, and they're coming with all sorts of proposals of how we can work together. I suppose it's also additional business that is coming. But also this has just been an encouragement for everybody, because others are saying you have responsibilities in terms of developing more chartered accountants. So those are the kind of calls we've been getting.
So where do you see the business going then? Because clearly a door has been opened here, and a very big door here that has been opened for you. Where do you see the company going from here on?
Yes. You must understand, when we came together last year as the merger of SizweNtsaluba and Gobodo to form SizweNtsalubaGobodo, the whole idea was we had been in the industry for 25 years. We've been medium-sized for 15 years. And we've been doing, sizable audits by jointly with the Big Four for a long time. It was time for us to graduate now, take the bull by the horns and move this thing forward. Because people will say, make excuses of, we don't have capacity. We do want to give you bigger assignments and more complex assignments. But we can't give those audits to the firm your size, where we were before. And therefore we thought, okay, let's come together. The market is demanding this. We also want to grow, and we can't grow from a medium-sized base.
Sure.
So we came together to form the SizweNtsalubaGobodo, and we are now the #5 accounting firm in the country, the largest black-owned accounting firm in the country, homegrown indigenous company.
What measure are you using?
We're using revenue.
Revenue,
Yes,
by revenue.
By
okay.
revenue,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
And therefore, we then thought that we will be able to attract assignments of the size.
Right.
It was a courageous step for us, but that courage has been honored. So now, for the first time in South Africa, a big assignment, the size of Transnet, the complexity of Transnet, has been given to a black indigenous firm. For us, it's a breakthrough. For us, it's historic.
How important is it?
It's
and why is it important?
It's so important because you must understand that we're talking about economic transformation.
Yeah.
We're talking about we've been, free for 18 years and all the nice things that we're saying. But the truth of the matter is that black business has not moved as long as we are not leading in various sectors of our country. So we said, in the accounting profession, we will take that bold step to provide a platform, for growth for our own firms, black firms.
Right.
And therefore, now we have an opportunity out of this assignment to establish even a bigger firm. When we launched this new firm last year, we said this is only the beginning, So when we have an assignment the size of Transnet, what that means is that more doors will open in the public sector in terms of the SOECs, because if we can do Transnet, we can do others also on our own, firstly. Secondly, the private sector will not have excuses anymore.
Sure.
Because remember, the excuses that we don't have capacity, can we handle complex assignments? Now we're handling a big assignment, one of the biggest in Africa,
Sure.
As complex as Transnet. There are few companies like Transnet in Africa, and therefore no one then can say, we can't do others. And of course, I mean, we have to deliver. We have a huge responsibility to deliver. But what this thing actually does is that it gives us scope now. All those areas within our business that we couldn't fully deal with in terms of innovation, specializing, growing our technical department, because in this profession, if you don't have a strong technical department that can support your assignments, you are dead in the water.
Okay.
So now we can grow the technical department.
So how big do you want to make this? What's the aim? I remember the other time I was reading and I had a top 3 or thereabouts. Or are we talking about the big prize here?
I suppose we've always been saying that we don't want to emulate the big 4. You know, they've been around 100 years and so on. But we can cover our own niche in this market and begin to specialize in various areas. And assignments like this are a platform for us to grow. Of course, we want to be the biggest in Africa.
Sure, in Africa.
Yes.
I like the definition, define to Africa. Have you had a call from one of the big 4 congratulating
yes,
you or
all
asking
of them.
you to merge?
All of them have
Break
been...
some news, Nonkululeko. Break some news for us here.
You know, I respect my colleagues. They've been calling to congratulate us on the assignment. Of course, the Big 4 have been talking to us over the years. They've always been saying, let us come into them and form this, you know, big black Big 4 firm, if you like, you know. But I mean, for us, in fact, that was the choice. The choice was either be sold into the Big 4 and disappear and die forever, or we take this bold step of this merger. And we decided to take the bold step of the merger because otherwise, I mean, we can never really leave a serious legacy for future generations. And we'll always feel as black people that there are things we cannot do. You know, we need this hand-holding by white people and all of that. And they have a role to play even in our company. We've got a lot of white partners, but we're saying this is black-led, black-managed, black majority black-owned.
So I would imagine going forward, there's going to be a very beady eye cast on shareholding and how that remains going forward.
Yes, in fact, one of our strategy targets is never to fall below 75% black-owned.
Right. And that's going to be a requirement going forward.
Yes, definitely. Otherwise, I mean, then we're wasting time then.
Sure.
Because what also government wants is to empower black people.
Sure.
And especially Africans, because Africans have been the most marginalized.
Yeah. Should we be emphasizing race as much as we are?
I think for the next couple of years, we still have
Couple of years?
Yes.
Couple of years.
Couple of years.
Should we call a timeline on it? Or should we just, as some people are suggesting, there be no sunset clause? Keep it as open as possible. What's your opinion?
I believe that as long as the majority of black people in this country are still disadvantaged, we cannot say race is not an issue. Because in any society, things that are not being brought to the fore, they get forgotten. If you don't cry about HIV and AIDS, you know, people will just die silently.
Sure.
So we need to keep this in the forefront of the economics and politics of this country.
You said a couple of years.
Hopefully, you
Yeah.
know, when we took this bold step, we were saying to black business generally, let's stop crying in our little offices or in our bedrooms and
Sure.
things like that about economic transformation. Let us take this upon ourselves, that we are going to define our own economic destiny. And therefore, you know, when we do things like this, then we encourage everybody to support black business. And therefore, until we conscientize black people that it is their responsibility, economic transformation is not someone's responsibility, not government, not whites, not white corporations, but theirs, then this thing will move fast.
Yeah. Now, you've got this number 5 big firm that you've put together. So you've got muscle now. You're creating capacity. And you're also creating, I suppose, an opportunity for those who want to come in the industry as black people. Now, competition, I would imagine, is going to get stiff. Yes. Where are you going to be looking for business going forward?
Well, we've always said that, you know, the public sector is probably our bread and butter for a short while.
Sure.
So
the public sector.
The public sector is
okay.
so including state-owned companies. But of course, when you do all these nice things that we're talking about, innovation, training, you know, institutional capacity, building that institutional capacity, it gives you then scope to really go into the private sector to say, now we have the capacity. We are no different from the Big Four. We were not different, in fact, really, because we go through the same reviews from our regulator as they do, and we pass them as they do. But now you have something to support your story, you know. So we see ourselves growing a lot within the private sector, and also going beyond the borders of South Africa, into Africa and globally.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because I wanted you to give me some numbers in terms of that growth that you're talking about. What are we talking about here? Are we talking about a doubling in revenue in the next 5 years, or is that in the next 10 years? Or are we talking about increasing the number of black partners by 75%? I don't know the numbers.
We want to double our revenue in the next 3 years.
Okay, I was
yes, and the number that we have in our strategic plan is that in the next 3 years we have to hit R1 billion rands revenue.
Right, in the next 3 years.
In the next 3 years, yes. And what we've said also is that you must understand that we have a huge responsibility in terms of the pipeline of chartered accountants. And the results came out on Friday. You look at that pipeline, it's you know, it's still not where we want to be. Sure. But when we have a black company the size of SizweNtsalubaGobodo, we have an opportunity now to increase those numbers. So we see ourselves contributing to that pipeline increasingly over the next coming years. Sure. But where we are 900 staff members right now, we see ourselves even doubling that in the next 3 years. So we see ourselves having 2,000 staff members in the next 3 years. And of course, you know, you can plan. Hopefully, we will exceed our expectations. Sure. You know, when you interview me in 3 years' time, I'll be talking about, no, actually, we've hit the 2 billion mark, and actually, we're in Europe right now.
Absolutely, I'll be certainly hoping for that. Yes. But you're looking beyond South Africa. You're looking into Africa as well, because everybody's talking about Africa as the next investment opportunity.
Yes, yes.
And for that investment potential to be realized, it does need guys like you to quantify and actually put the numbers together, numbers that are credible. Where are you looking for growth in Africa?
In fact, we've been doing a lot of business in Africa, but with associations, you know, firms that we're associated with. But now the move is that we are, yes, we will still have associations in certain countries, but we want the SizweNtsalubaGobodo brand going into Africa. So in the next 3 years, what we've set for ourselves is that we should have at least 4 offices in 4 countries in Africa. And then in those countries where we cannot establish an office immediately, we'll continue with our associations. Even through Morrison International, our international network, we are working together in terms of getting into Africa.
Indeed, Nonkululeko, Executive Chairwoman for SizweNtsalubaGobodo, thanks for talking to us, and we'll continue that conversation in the second half. In that second half, we're going to try to find out where she has come from and the kind of things that she has had to deal with to get to where she is as she builds this company to become, she is saying, hopefully somewhere around, is it the top 3? I think I'll make it the top 3 in our own plans. That's after the break.